All right, welcome to the Miracle Recap. And like I shared, it is a glorious day. It's day 132. And that is like the fulfillment of a prophecy. What do I refer to? To lesson 132. I lose the world from all I thought it was and choose my own reality instead. Now that's the promise. That's the assignment of the whole Course in Miracles, put in one lesson. And by high exception, we're not taking a look at that lesson today in this meeting, but we will continue later today in the Miracles, in the Healing Circle, with lesson 132, because it's just a so-called delicious lesson to use in a healing circle. You will, say, bounce up against any residual resistance to handing everything over, to releasing every world belief that you might have. And so that's really great healing work. And so now, don't worry, we have something here. It's not that we're completely running out empty. Now there's a really great chapter 26 in A Course in Miracles, that has a section called The Little Hindrance. And that is just totally helpful to read today, or to use today in the Miracle Recap as a more foundational look at what is occurring and what is exactly in the way, and what is that. So it's like, this is about time, the tiny tick of time. And so that's one thing. Of course, we're going to also take a look at some of the review lessons, especially the time-related review lessons in the first 50 lessons. So I really do I give it everything not to do lesson 132, because you, of course, did it today. If you do the lessons according to A Course in Miracles schedule, starting the 1st of January, for instance, but that's not necessary, but you can do that, then you would be on lesson 132. So we do that later. So starting with a little exercise, we start with reading some review lessons, very much world-related. And that's why world belief related, because there is no world. So let's start with that. So I'm going to pull up the PDF so that we can read together. If you feel that you want to participate in reading, go ahead. If it's too early, too late, or you feel resistance, do it too. Why not? Whoop, and there it is. So this is lesson 55 from A Course in Miracles. And we start with 21. I'll read the first one. If you feel like joining, please do, and otherwise I just keep reading. I love this. I am determined to see things differently. What I see now are signs of disease, disaster, and death. This cannot be what God created for His beloved Son. The very fact that I see such things is proof that I do not understand God. Therefore, I also do not understand His Son. What I see tells me that I do not know who I am. What I see tells me that I do not know who I am. Well, I'm determined to see the witnesses to the truth in me, rather than those which show me an illusion of myself.
What I see is a form of vengeance. The world I see is hardly the representation of loving thoughts. It is a picture of attack on everything by everything. It is anything but a reflection of the love of God and the love of His Son. It is my own attack thoughts that give rise to this picture. My loving thoughts will save me from this perception of the world and give me the peace God intended me to have.
I can escape from this world by giving up attack thoughts. Herein lies salvation and nowhere else. Without attack thoughts, I could not see a world of attack. As forgiveness allows love to return to my awareness, I will see a world of peace and safety and joy. And it is this I choose to see in place of what I look on now.
I do not perceive my own best interest. How could I recognize my own best interest when I do not know who I am? What I think are my best interests would merely bind me closer to the world of illusions. I am willing to follow the guide God has given me to find out what my own best interests are, recognizing that I cannot perceive them by myself.
Je ne sais pas à quoi sert quoi que ce soit. Pour moi, le but de toute chose est de prouver que mes illusions à mon sujet sont réelles. C'est dans ce but que j'essaie d'utiliser chacun et chaque chose. C'est à cela que je crois que le monde sert. Par conséquent, je ne reconnais pas son but réel. Le but que j'ai donné au monde a conduit à une image effrayante de lui. J'ouvre mon esprit au but réel du monde en lui retirant celui que je lui ai donné et en apprenant la vérité à son sujet.
My attack thoughts are attacking my invulnerability. How can I know who I am when I see myself as under constant attack? Pain, illness, loss, age, and death seem to threaten me. All my hopes and wishes and plans appear to be at the mercy of a world I cannot control. Yet perfect security and complete fulfillment are my inheritance. I've tried to give my inheritance away in exchange for the world I see, but God has kept my inheritance safe for me. My own real thoughts will teach me what it is.
Above all else, I want to see. Recognizing that what I see reflects what I think I am. I realize that vision is my greatest need. The world I see attests to the fearful nature of the self-image I have made. If I would remember who I am, it is essential that I let this image of myself go. As it is replaced by truth, vision will surely be given to me. And with this vision, I will look upon the world and on myself with charity and love.
Par-dessus tout, je veux voir différemment. Le monde que je vois maintient en place l'image effrayante que j'ai de moi-même et en garantit la continuité. Tant que je vois le monde comme je le vois maintenant, la vérité ne peut entrer dans ma conscience. Je voudrais laisser la porte qui est derrière ce monde être ouverte pour moi, afin de regarder passer celui-ci vers le monde qui reflète l'amour de Dieu.
God is in everything I see. Behind every image I have made, the truth remains unchanged. Behind every veil I have drawn across the face of love, its light remains undimmed. Beyond all my insane wishes is my will, united with the will of my Father. God is still everywhere and in everything forever, and we who are part of Him will yet look past all appearances and recognize the truth beyond them all.
God is in everything I see because God is in my mind. In my own mind, behind all my insane thoughts of separation and attack, is the knowledge that all is one forever. I have not lost the knowledge of who I am because I have forgotten it. It has been kept for me in the mind of God, who has not left his thoughts. And I, who am among them, am one with them and one with him.
So you see, there's a lot of world belief related ideas in it, and that's why it's interesting. Like you're able to look on this world with charity and love if you let go of your image, of your self-image, of all the ideas that you hold about yourself. That is absolutely amazing to read, and it's absolutely lovely to hear. It's like there's so much hope in a certain sense, or so much motivation to let go of your image, of your self-image. Now this is really lovely, and it's so recognizable if you recognize the moments that you gave up your attack thoughts, even if it was for a minute or for some time. How different everything was, and how you accepted everything. In fact, that is so beautiful. Now, this we leave for what it is now. Of course, we take this with us because it's like we've heard this, you've heard this, and we have read this before. You've heard this. Now the practicality of it is that we're going to take a look in the layer, you could almost say the layer underneath of that, because now it is still thinking, and this that needs to change, that need to let go of that. So there's some real serious letting go connected to it, but underneath of that is something that is you need to get in touch with that too, to see what is going on. Not that you have to know what's going on, but more like it makes so much sense when you read it. And that's why I want to use chapter 26 to really go, say, fundamental with lesson 132, in fact. Because we have some really great lessons these days, all world related. It's impossible to see two worlds. Only one of them is real. You want to get in touch with the real world. Now that if you haven't experienced that, you wouldn't know where to look for. Because up to that point, you for sure were holding on or thinking that this world is real. The world that you see is real. That's what you think. Now this belief is something that you won't let go immediately, because you use your perception to go through your day. You use every aspect of it until you, in fact, go to bed and close your eyes, or when you meditate and close your eyes. So that is an interesting idea, because it's like continuously you are perceiving something. And what you're perceiving has everything to do with the way that you think, 100%. Like there's nothing that doesn't start with you in what you're perceiving. So this makes it so, it's like you can say like perceiving is what judgment is, because you have an idea. This is exactly what you see. And this is so fundamental to actually recognize. You see your brother, but you have an idea about your brother, and you see that idea reflected about your brother. You don't really see your brother at all. Same with other things and other situations. You don't see the situation because you don't even see yourself. You can't see yourself. And that makes it that you also don't know who you are, because if you want to derive that from your perceptions, then you're going to look for yourself for a long time. It's not going to prove anything to you about yourself, because literally it has nothing to do with perception. What you are has nothing to do with perception. Now, you've heard that before, but it's in fact a deep inner experience that we're talking about, that you will have to go to. In the direction of your focus, you have to go to that and not away from it in order to experience it. And what do? You pick up a book and you take a look at it, and it's like, oh, okay, this is what I am. Okay, I want to feel that, or try a new meditation technique, or try to do something new in order to have some fresh inspiration to go through my day, or maybe this teacher can tell me how to do that. So this whole thing we've been in that, like you recognize it probably, at least in some part of your awakening. Now, to bring it all back to yourself totally is one thing that you learn, in fact, with the lessons of A Course in Miracles. You learn to receive literally the teacher from within and let him direct you and instruct you and invite you to let go of the teacher that you have made, you could say. So this is a process, and you will come to the acceptance of that completely, because you have come to that. The whole belief that this hasn't occurred yet, or that something is about to occur, or that it still needs to occur, is your belief in time and your belief in who you think you are, nothing else. That's why healing is instantaneous. Like if you allow this new idea to come to you, the healing would be instantaneous. It would be immediately given to you. Now this becomes more and more urgent in your mind, because if you recognize that you walk around with it, why on earth would you suffer? Why on earth would you be making a world real? Why do you think there's anything that can be taken away from you? You know, like all this suffering that you think was so necessary is gone, it's over. Now here is the new moment. Here's your new acceptance of yourself by not knowing what you accept, but being open to do that. Now chapter 26, and specifically the section that we're looking at today, will help us more with that. A little hindrance, but I wrote it really big. I thought it was funny. A little hindrance, but a little is humongous. It's like blocking the sight of the light. A little hindrance. A little hindrance can seem large indeed to those who do not understand that miracles are all the same. Like one hindrance would not be bigger than another hindrance, because it's all the same, it's illusory. So it's like there's no order of difficulty in miracles, they're all the same, 100%. A little hindrance can seem large indeed to those who do not understand that miracles are the same. Now, here we go. Yet teaching that is what this course is for. This is its only purpose. For only that is all that there is to learn. And you can learn it in many different ways. A little hindrance can seem large indeed to those who do not understand that miracles are all the same. Yet teaching this is what the course is for. And this is its only purpose. For only that is all there is to learn. And you can learn it in many different ways. All learning is a help or a hindrance to the gate of heaven. Nothing in between is possible. Okay, this makes sense, right? If you read that, like, so this is what I meant with, like, you go in a level below the activity that we perform in doing the lessons, for instance. Now we come to the, you could say, like the mechanism of the miracle is really like, there's no order of difficulty in miracles. One is not harder than the other. And you know this as an expression, but here it actually comes into place. That means that all the objections I can have to accepting what A Course in Miracles says is just as much as a little tiny doubt. It really makes no difference. Now, see, that is not so easy to convey. But here it says too, it's like, whatever is occurring here in your experience of yourself, in your studying this, is like a hindrance or a help to come to the gate of heaven. And this is how serious that is in that sense. It's like, this is how serious it is. The little thing is that you make a difference between your situation and someone else's situation. You compare. And you think like, well, my situation is just like, no, it makes sense that I'm not there yet, or whatever your excuse is. This is very common. So you might as well admit it if you experience it that way. It's like you really think it matters, that your problems are bigger and more difficult to solve than others. Of course you think that. Of course you think that. But that's no more than a representation of your, say, willingness to hold on to them. So how can this be turned upside down? Now, well, luckily there's such thing as a miracle. Luckily, this is A Course in Miracles. That is so lovely, because it doesn't make any difference. In other words, you will not be able to work that out yourself. You cannot get this by studying it. You cannot get this by figuring out how you can make your problem smaller so it can be resolved or it can change, that you have your part in that. Like, no, absolutely not. No, that would just be a delay. Like that is not helping it. It is literally delaying it. This is essential. So I'm leaving you right here. All learning is a help or hindrance to the gate of heaven. Nothing in between is possible. Oh, okay. So here's the one thing. There are two teachers only who point in different ways. Who say like, heaven is, go to the right. If you want to go to heaven, go right. And the other teacher said, no, you have no, you have to go left. And you will go along the way your chosen teacher leads. Now, who is this teacher? Who is this teacher? You can say like, well, fear is probably a teacher, but the world can be a teacher. Or, yeah, who knows? And of course you have your inner teacher, this still small voice who tells you things that you might not want to hear, or that you can't believe that would be of any help at all. This is also very normal in your spiritual development. So there are two teachers only who point in different ways, and you will go along the way your chosen teacher leads. There are but two directions you can take, while time remains and choice is meaningful. For never will another road be made except the way to heaven. You but choose whether to go toward heaven or away to nowhere. There's nothing else to choose. Now you see here we come to the fundamental point. This is so fundamental. There are but two directions you can take. So I'll slow down a little bit. So there are two directions you can take, while time remains and choice is meaningful. Are you still experiencing time? And do you still think you have a choice? Well, then listen. There are but two directions you can take. For never will another road be made except the way to heaven. There is no other way. You but choose whether to go toward it or away from it. If you go away from it, you're going nowhere. And there's no other choice. So in fact, this takes care of the whole idea of choice. If you're reasonable with yourself, it takes care of the whole idea of choice. So like I said, this is so fundamental, and it's only to be of help, in fact, to realize what is actually going on. So in this lesson 132, we say, like, I lose the world from all I thought it was and choose my own reality instead. Like I choose my reality, not that I choose the reality that I want. No, I choose reality instead. My own reality, like the place where I am real, not where I walk around into nowhere. No, real. So here, going right underneath a level, you see, like, so how many roads are there? And where are they going to? The one says heaven, this way, heaven, that way. It's like, here, look at that. A very noisy voice says, no, you should go left. Are you crazy? No, you should go left. You get everything. Yeah, it was really great. And to go right, it's a quiet road. It's certain. It is still. It is giving you, say, guidance on a moment-by-moment basis. And every step is sure. Every step is sure. So you see, this is like, this one is actually going to heaven, toward heaven. And this one is going nowhere. Now if you believe that time exists, you really think there's a way to go, or there's a decision to be made, like, am I going to do that or not? It's like the whole consideration is only, say, a confirmation of the insane mind you're using as guidance. Like, literally, you can't figure this out. So this is why you really need a teacher, inner teacher, who tells you where to go, because you don't know. If you trust your decisions, you end up nowhere. We all have sufficient experience of that. Like, yeah, it goes nowhere. It's painful. It is. I know that. I'm fed up with it. I'm done with it. So then I don't have to make a choice. But there's something else. Like, if I don't make a choice, then I'm going nowhere either. Now, what am I supposed to do? Nothing is ever lost but time, which in the end is meaningless. Like, however long you take before you decide not to go nowhere, but to go in the direction of heaven, it's up to you. Like, nothing is ever lost. So nobody cares about that, really, except that you are in difficulties. And why would you do that? So it's like nothing is ever lost, which in the end is meaningless. For it is but a little hindrance to eternity, quite meaningless to the real teacher of the world. Yet since you do believe in it, why should you waste it going nowhere? You do believe in time. You do believe that you have a choice. Yet since you do believe in it, why should you waste it going nowhere, when it can be used to reach a goal as high as learning can achieve? Think not the way to heaven's gate is difficult at all. See? There you go. It's like, it's not difficult. It's different. It's not difficult. So no worries about that. Nothing you undertake with certain purpose and high resolve and happy confidence, holding your brother's hand and keeping step to heaven's song, is difficult to do. Nothing you undertake with certain certain purpose and high resolve and happy confidence, holding your brother's hand and keeping step to heaven's song is difficult to do. But it is hard indeed to wander off, alone and miserable, down a road that leads to nothing and that has no purpose. Now you can ask, like, why are we coming together every day? It's like, well, here's one reason to do that. If your purpose is certain, high resolve and happy confidence is growing, holding your brother's hand and keeping step to heaven's song, it isn't difficult. It's just a lot of fun to do so. So it's great to hold each other's hand, going, keeping step to heaven's song. That is one reason to do this together, to really go for it and support one another and keep reminding each other. And for this remembrance is not much necessary either. Your happy face will do it, or your face in general will do it. Okay, so God gave his teacher to replace the one you made. Oh, this is another section. God gave his teacher to replace the one you made, not to conflict with it. And what he would replace has been replaced. Time lasted but an instant in your mind, with no effect upon eternity. And so is all time past, and everything exactly as it was before the way to nothingness was made. If you wonder where nothingness is, look around. Look around in the world that you see. It's a world of nothingness. So time lasted but an instant in your mind, with no effect upon eternity. And so is all time past, and everything exactly as it was before the way to nothingness was made. Okay, so two important parts. You see, this is still the foundational ideas underneath all of it. It's like time lasted for an instant in your mind. Time lasted for an instant. It is gone. It's over. Like lesson 7, I'm seeing only the past. Everything that you see, all your perception, is based on something that's no longer there, that is already over. You cannot understand it because you really think it is real. But when you let go of it, it becomes obvious. And literally you start to forget about it. You can't remember what happened yesterday because it is literally gone. If you come more into a present experience of yourself, you can't remember what happened yesterday. It has no consequences and you're not concerned with it. You don't value it, and there it's gone. Literally, you can't get to it. So it's like a quick forgetting takes place. And this is really only bringing you into a present experience. That is all. Now there's the other part. It's like God gave you his teacher from within, gave you his teacher, not to conflict with it, but to let you be instructed. Like, you don't know how to let go of this. You don't know how to work miracles. You don't know anything in that sense. So you need instruction, you need guidance, you need help in order to take the next step, for instance, or to stay present, or to learn what you need to learn, and to experience what is yours, what is real about you, to come into thinking real thoughts, like real thoughts, not the thoughts that you think with your mind. No, thoughts that are actually an extension of creation, as an experience, not anything else. So this is also, it's like very, very fundamental, but so essential. The tiny tick of time in which the first mistake was made, and all of them within that one mistake. The tiny tick of time in which the first mistake was made, thinking that you could be separate, and all of them within that one mistake, all of that what happened after held also the correction for that one. And all of them that came within the first mistake was the idea that you could be separate. And that could be a choice for you. Now that is a thing that has been repeating over and over and over, echoing all through the human mind, you could say. But it held also the correction for that one. And all of them that came within the first. And in that tiny instant, time was gone. For that was all it ever was. What God gave answer to is answered and is gone. So God gave his answer. Okay, so you see here the time part, really, really interesting. The tiny tick of time in which the first mistake was made. I think I can be separate from what everything is. Impossible. But that was all that time was. Time is over. Like, only that consideration was immediately corrected. Of course there's no such thing as separation. Of course you can never be separate. In that tiny instant, time was made and corrected, and it is nowhere to be found anymore. It had no effect upon eternity. It's completely gone. Now what do? See, it's like the echo of that same mistake keeps bouncing to the walls of your imprisonment, confusing you, or basically proving to you that it still exists, while it is just an echo that is over and gone long ago. It is what the world is, really. It's like, so it was crystallized into form for one or another reason, because you didn't believe it was corrected. You felt guilty about it, you blah, 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 whatever the story. It's like, in this tiny tick of time in which the first mistake was made, held also the correction of that one mistake and all the ones made after. So now this correction has been made. That is the part that you have to keep in mind. Not figuring out how this all came about, not figuring out how many mistakes you have made and how separate you are from God. No, it is corrected. Now you come back to that recognition. It is corrected. The tiny tick of time, like literally there's no such thing as time. What else is here but this instant? What else can you experience than this instant? Your past, you cannot experience your past. Your separation, why would you experience your separation? Why holding on to that idea as if it isn't corrected? See how fundamental this is? It's like this is literally the root of in fact all the pain that you can walk around with an idea of separation. Only that. That's why it's not difficult to let go of that. Like there's no order of difficulty in miracles. So it's like it would take a miracle to get out of it, sure. But the miracle's available. Now you apply that. Give that to yourself. Allow that to occur. Give yourself the space to experience one. And you're out of it. It is as simple as that. To you, who still believe you live in time, and know not it is gone, the Holy Spirit still guides you through the infinitely small and senseless maze you still perceive in time, though it has long since gone. You think you live in what is past. Each thing you look upon you saw but for an instant, long ago, before its unreality gave way to truth. See what's occurring? See how deeply we go into this now. You think you live in what is past. You really think that has a reality, that has something. Each thing you look upon you saw but for an instant long ago, before its unreality gave way to truth. So to you who still believe you live in time and know not it is gone, the Holy Spirit still guides you through the infinitely small and senseless maze you still perceive in time, though it has long since gone. You think you live in what is past. Each thing you look upon you saw but for an instant, long ago, before its unreality gave way to truth. What has to happen with this? It only needs your acceptance. It needs your acceptance. So your acceptance means like you can only hold on, you can literally hold one thing. You cannot hold a conflict. You cannot hold the past and this new idea that comes to you. So it's like, give that away, then this is given to you. Give your ties to what you think is past and what is still valuable to you. Give that away in order to just be able to enter into the present, which is the time now, which is what is actually occurring now, and is free of fear, pain, disillusionment, loss, lack, limitation, because these are old ideas, very, very old ideas, based on an idea that you could be separate from God. And that one instant that you suggested that to yourself, it was corrected. So the correction has taken place. So there's no need to hold on to the rest. There's no loss in letting that go, because it is already gone long ago. Like I said, this is like the perfect motivation to actually do lesson 132. It is the foundation on which it works. It is looking at the mechanics behind the lesson. So that's what we did. Now it doesn't hurt to read a couple of paragraphs of lesson 132. I lose the world from all I thought it was. What keep the world in chains but your beliefs? And what can save the world except yourself? Belief is powerful indeed. The thoughts you hold are mighty, and illusions are as strong in their effects as is the truth. A madman thinks the world he sees is real and does not doubt it, nor can he be swayed by questioning his thoughts' effects. It is but when their source is raised to question that the hope of freedom comes to him at last. Yet is salvation easily achieved, for anyone is free to change his mind, and all his thoughts change with it. Now the source of thought has shifted, for to change your mind means you have changed the source of all ideas you think or ever thought or yet will think. You free the past from what you thought before. You free the future from all ancient thoughts of seeking what you do not want to find. The present now is the only time. Here in the present is the world set free. For as you let the past be lifted and release the future from your ancient fears, you find escape and give it to the world. You have enslaved the world with all your fears, your doubts, your miseries, your pain, your tears, and all your sorrows. Press on it, and keep the world a prisoner to your beliefs. Death strikes it everywhere, because you hold the bitter thoughts of death within your mind. Let's be still with this for a moment. All right. Thank you so much for joining me in this. It's so incredible to see how this opens up and to feel that, like how fundamental this is, how carefully prepared everything is, how you so can trust your as an inner teacher who gives you guidance on a moment-by-moment basis, with all the hope that is connected to it, but also the absolute certainty of accomplishment, like no one can fail who seeks to reach the truth, because it is the only way. The way to heaven is the only way. And why on earth would you want to go in a different direction? So that makes choice easy. So this is, like I said, it's a glorious day. I lose the world from all I thought it was and choose my own reality instead. I don't have to make that. I just have to follow the steps, guided by my inner teacher, in holding each other's hands in doing so. So I thank you so much for holding my hand along the way to heaven. And it's like, can you hear that? Like, can you hear this song of heaven already? It's like, yeah. Glimpses of it. It's right here. It's happening now. You don't have to go far for it. No, listen. So thank you so much for being here in this moment, realizing that with me. That's a fulfillment in itself. Thank you so much. And I hope to see you soon in the next episode of Miracles Recap, or maybe hop in later in the healing circle. We continue with lesson 132. Thank you so much. Bye for now.